Welcome back to Red Recapped. Today I'm going to describe an action thriller movie called Harry Brown, released in 2009. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film kicks off with an old man sporting gray hair, posted by the window, casually peering downwards. In the meantime, a bunch of rowdy troublemakers are causing chaos for the cars. The car owner steps in to investigate the situation, but he ends up getting brutally beaten. Ultimately, the owner falls to the ground, covered in blood, and ceases to breathe. The troublemakers also obstruct the pedestrian crossing for a considerable amount of time. This is where all sorts of shady activities go down: drug deals, homicides, and robberies. The local residents simply go about their business, turning a blind eye. As the elderly man witnesses these horrifying events, he's left with no choice but to stand by and watch. It's all due to a promise he made to his wife years ago, pledging to steer clear of danger once he hung up his military uniform and spend the rest of his days in tranquility. Harry Brown, a retired high-ranking officer in the Royal Marines, now lives a reclusive life in an apartment building near the slums, surviving on a modest pension. Each day, he makes his way to the hospital to visit his ailing wife. Even though his wife is in a semi-vegetative state, Harry remains dedicated to his daily visits. Later on, he heads to a nearby pub to have a drink, engage in conversation, and play chess with his longtime buddy, Leonard. One evening, a call from the hospital reaches Harry. He's informed that his wife's condition is critical. Amidst pouring rain, Harry gets up and heads to the hospital. He's faced with the dilemma of crossing the pedestrian path, fearing an encounter with those hooligans. Hence, he opts for an alternate route. Upon reaching the hospital, he tragically misses the chance to see his wife one last time, and he weeps in regret. The next day, he sheds tears as he lays his wife to rest. Now, he can only spend time with his friend Leonard. The two men continue their daily ritual of playing chess at the pub. Leonard advises Harry to steer clear of Sid, the bar owner, due to rumors of his involvement in illegal activities like drugs, firearms, and women. However, they remain uncertain about the truth of these claims. Subsequently, they head to the restroom together. Leonard shares his fear, recounting how the hooligans shoved garbage into his mailbox and slapped him. Having had enough, he pulls out a cutlass from his coat pocket. Harry notices this and tries to intervene, suggesting they head to the police station together. Nonetheless, Leonard informs him that he's already contacted the police, who will only act if someone ends up dead. With that, Leonard turns and leaves the pub. Late at night, someone ignites a pile of plastic waste right in front of Leonard's house. The room fills quickly with smoke, jolting him awake. He struggles to his feet and puts out the flames. Gasping for air, he hurries to the door. The following day, a detective inspector named Alice Frampton and her partner arrive at Harry's place, delivering the grim news. Leonard perished on the sidewalk the previous night. The attacker's identity remains a mystery, and an investigation is underway. In agony, Harry loses control and his voice due to the pain. He's devastated by his inability to rescue his friend. However, Detective Frampton guides the police to 4 potential suspects in Leonard's murder. One of them, Noel, arranges for his uncle to hire a lawyer. During police questioning, they all give identical statements. Not only do they insult the officers, but they also issue a warning about walking with care. Due to insufficient evidence, the hooligans are set free. In the meantime, Harry feels more isolated than ever. He no longer has anyone to share a drink or conversation with. Downhearted, he has a few more drinks at the bar. Settling his tab, he pulls out his wallet, unaware of a junkie's gaze fixed on him. He heads home along the river. Suddenly, as he passes under a bridge, a man emerges from the shadows, wielding a knife and demanding money. Taken aback, Harry seizes the robber's other hand and turns the knife back on him. The robber collapses and meets his demise swiftly. Harry ensures no witnesses are around and departs. The next morning, Frampton pays him another visit, providing updates on Leonard's case. Seeing Harry's photo and military decorations, she recognizes his service in the Marine Corps. She reveals that investigators found an antique army knife at the crime scene, covered in Leonard's fingerprints and fibers from his clothing. Harry acknowledges his awareness of the knife, affirming that Leonard used it for self-defense when the police couldn't safeguard him. However, Frampton explains that the defense attorney could argue the killer acted in self-defense, leading to a manslaughter charge rather than murder. She advises him to prepare for the trial's outcome. Enraged, Harry orders her out of the house. He retrieves his treasure and selects a trinket and a military knife given to him by his wife. He hatches his revenge plan and tails a drug addict back to their house, late at night. He pretends he's considering buying a gun to deal with the noisy pigeons on his roof. They lead him into a weed-overgrown courtyard that looks like a modest self-sufficient plantation. Harry steps into the grim, dimly lit interior. Seated on the couch is a woman who's been injected with something. A video of her assault plays on the television. Consumed by fury, he loads his gun and knife, attacking them when their guard is down. Carrying the woman to a parked jeep, he finds a barrel of gasoline and sets the building ablaze. He rushes the woman to the hospital in the jeep, tucking money into her clothes. A loud honk and he disappears into the night. Later, at the hospital, the woman receives treatment and paramedics find money in her clothes. Frampton and her colleague arrive, sensing something amiss as typical criminals wouldn't shoot a woman and then deliver her to the hospital. Harry makes his way to the church, emptying the bag's contents into the donation box. He visits the cemetery to bid his family farewell. Now, he's poised to launch his revenge plan. Late at night, he peers out the window, observing the thugs downstairs. Finally, an opportunity arises to eliminate a dealer. Following the kill, he ushers one of the thugs upstairs for questioning. Armed with a leather pipe, Harry interrogates him fiercely. Gradually, the thug spills the story. He claims that Leonard confronted them with a cutlass that night but was overpowered. Noel, a guy among them, used Leonard's own army knife to murder him. The thug hands over a recorded video, revealing how they brutalized Leonard. Enraged by Leonard's gruesome death, Harry restrains the thug and leads him to the sidewalk like a dog. Elsewhere, Noel and another thug find themselves in a dire situation. In the midst of a shootout, the chained thug meets his end at the hands of his terrified companions. Shortly after, Harry takes down another thug. On the flip side, Noel manages to escape. Harry struggles to keep pace, eventually running out of energy. He battles emphysema, slumping to the ground in exhaustion. Before losing consciousness, he hurls his gun into the river. Later, he's discovered and taken to the hospital. Frampton pays him a visit at the hospital, where the doctor notes his breathing difficulties, rendering him unable to answer police queries. However, Frampton detects the scent of gunpowder on his jacket. She conjectures a link between the murdered boys and Leonard's killing, casting suspicion on Harry. She reports her suspicions to the police chief upon returning to the station. Suggesting a gunpowder test on Harry's clothes, she's met with skepticism, as the chief doubts an elderly man could commit consecutive murders. With the city plagued by riots, the police struggle to maintain order. The situation quickly devolves into a riot, with crowds pelting officers with stones and Molotov cocktails, and vandalizing and setting cars on fire. In contrast, the police respond passively, forming a shielded line. Meanwhile, Harry awakens gently in the hospital room. He rises, detaching himself from the tubes. Ignoring the doctor's advice, he hastily leaves the hospital, knowing his mission to avenge Leonard remains unfulfilled. Frampton discovers Harry's unauthorized departure and believes he's after Noel. She and her partner, Highcock, rush to the riot-stricken area. The riots intensify, and as Frampton and Highcock enter the neighborhood, they come under attack. A severe vehicle collision occurs, leaving Highcock seriously injured. Both detectives become trapped in the vehicle. Fortunately, Harry arrives just in time, assisting them before heading to Sid's bar. Upon seeing them, Sid offers to call an ambulance and walks away. Inside the bar, Frampton spots the gun on Harry's belt, confirming her suspicions. At this juncture, Harry realizes she's onto the truth and proclaims that these miscreants have turned murder into a game, necessitating a lesson. However, she informs him that if he goes after Noel, Sid will kill him, as Sid is Noel's uncle. Harry is taken aback. Leonard's words now ring true, depicting Sid as a life wrecker. Later, Harry pays a visit to Sid armed with a gun, but his surprise grows as he discovers Noel hiding there. Sid is aware of Leonard's fate and asserts Noel's innocence in the murder. Unfazed, Harry hands over a phone with a video, claiming that hooligans killed Leonard and captured the entire event on Noel's phone. Dizziness sets in, and Sid approaches with apparent concern. He cautiously takes Harry's gun, but his demeanor takes an abrupt shift as he strikes Harry in the stomach. Hearing the commotion outside the bar, Frampton promptly calls for backup. Unexpectedly, Noel attacks her. Sid ushers Harry into another room and subjects him to a beating. Sid reprimands Noel for recording the killing and plans to dispose of the detectives and Harry, making their deaths appear as casualties of the riot. To achieve this, they start by killing Highcock, suffocating him. Noel attempts the same with Frampton. Fortunately, Harry regains consciousness, retrieves a gun from his sock, and shoots Noel, who collapses and perishes. As Sid notices this, he shoots Harry in the shoulder and readies to aim for Harry's head. Undaunted, Harry challenges Sid to take the shot. Just then, Sid spots two red dots on his chest and is swiftly eliminated by snipers. It's revealed that the police have effectively eradicated the drug cartel and criminal elements in the city. During a press conference, a reporter hints that the former naval commander is responsible for numerous vigilante murders in the volatile area. However, the police chief dismisses the rumor, instead announcing that Frampton and Highcock will be honored with medals. Harry takes a leisurely stroll on a pristine lawn. The once graffiti-covered walkway is now repainted. Reflecting on it, he proceeds calmly to the tranquil and secure sidewalk and underpass. That's all from the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Please turn on notifications and leave a like to support the channel.